All right, let's get into it. I don't know what day it is.
Yep. But welcome to another edition of the Warfighter Tobacco Podcast. It's all the days turned into a blur after these past couple weeks.
Yeah.
A couple back-to-back Vegas trips, trade show thrown in there.
Can't remember when this airs, so
Yeah,
whatever.
Yep. But yeah, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in again. Today we're going to go over a little recap of the trade show we were just at TPE, Total Product Expo. That was out in Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Convention Center last week. I don't even remember the dates. I think it was like the 29th to the 2nd or something like that. January 29th, January 30th to the 2nd. One of those dates.
I know it was 1.5 days too long, probably.
In Vegas or the show?
Both. Both.
This show is a little weird.
It was a little slow.
Normally we have a trade show in January, which is TPE.
Yeah.
And then we have another trade show in July, which is PCA, Premium Cigar Association.
And that's the big one.
Yep. And the PCA is cigars only, or cigars and cigar accessories and pipes and that kind of stuff. But it's mainly just, the cigar side of that. And TPE is they do cigars, vape, CBD.
Delta 8, Delta 7, Delta 9.
All the deltas.
Yeah.
And like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And accessories for all of that.
Yeah. And then there was also a simultaneous glass show, which is all the crack pipes and bongs that you can possibly think of.
Yeah. The fancy crack pipes. Yeah. Not the Hunter Biden ones.
Right. The artistic kind.
Yeah.
The
artesian.
Yeah. But I guess so. But then our normal PCA show moved from June or July to where it's going to be now in March. And then I guess also all of the other part of TPE, all the other products, they have another show like
this week. Called Champs.
Yeah. So they were like, the shows got double booked, and so everything.
It was weird.
It was weird. Yeah.
The vibe was just weird for the whole show.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just the cigar side of things. Like we walked around, and I mean, the show was pretty big this year. They had two floors, which was normally it's just one floor.
Yeah. The cigar section didn't get any bigger.
No, I think it actually got a little smaller.
I think so.
Yeah, normally they separate the different sections of the show by the carpet color. So like the cigar side, the cigar section has a red carpet,
right,
throughout all the aisles, between all the booths and stuff like that. And so for us, it kind of lets us know, like, if we wander off the red carpet, then we're in the wrong section.
Yeah. We're in Neverland.
But this year, there were other industries on that red carpet besides just cigars. Like there was CBD stuff, and there was other random companies that were on it. And I think they were anticipating more of the cigar industry to show up,
right?
And then just fill booth space with whoever else was there.
There were a couple cigar companies that must have been real late to the game.
But they got put away. Yeah,
they were in the wrong spots to be found at that show. So,
but it was cool. Like, I mean, all the trade shows are fun just because you get to see some new stuff that's out there, new products, whether it's directly related to our industry or not.
Right.
And then they always have some companies will bring in celebrities, whether they're involved in the company or they're just there as a representative of whatever brand they have. And so this year we got to see Mike Tyson, which was pretty cool.
Eric got to meet Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
And to see his childlike enthusiasm.
Oh, it was amazing.
Was amazing.
He's like, this made my whole year. But it was really cool. Like, I mean, I feel like it had to be awkward for him just because of the sheer amount of people that wanted to go shake his hand and take a picture. And I think he was just kind of over it by the time we walked by.
Yeah.
I mean, the line was long. It was, I don't know, there's probably a couple hundred people in line when we got there. We weren't even early.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of would have liked to wait in line just so I could have talked a little bit of shit to him just to see.
You can have all that.
I think it would be, I mean, that, I don't think.
I think if I would have waited in line to meet him, I think what I would have said is, hey, I really enjoyed your interview on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
That's what I would have said.
Right.
Nothing about his fighting or any of that.
Yeah.
Because his interview on Joe Rogan was really good. He was, I mean, way smarter than I would have imagined him.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Like, you want to go smoke stuff and be on a podcast?
Right. You could punch one of our hosts
Yeah.
on our other podcast.
Yeah. And then, fuck, I can't remember the dude's name from ZZ Top was there.
Yeah. Started a cigar or something.
He did. And it was weird because his cigar booth,
Was on the
company
wrong
booth,
floor.
wasn't even on the same floor the cigars were on.
Yeah.
And he launched a new cigar. And everyone's like, what?
Yeah.
He did what? That was pretty funny. Other than that, I mean, the trade shows are awesome. It's a chance for us to get out there and network with the entire industry or everyone that shows up that's there.
And then we get to see our friends, right? From across the industry, customers. It's a lot of fun.
When you say customers, you mean our retail partners?
Yeah.
Because it's not open to the public.
Right.
It's not like Big Smoke where you can just go hang out and smoke cigars.
Yeah.
This is like it's like SHOT Show.
owners.
Yeah, it's like SHOT Show, but for the cigar industry. You have to be in the industry somehow to get in.
Right.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, it was a lot slower than normal. And at first I thought it was us. And I'm like, after like the first day, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. Like what happened?
And then we started talking to everybody at the after party, and it was,
Like great big companies, and it was slow kind of across the board.
yeah. And they're like, yeah, we're doing like a third of what we normally do at these shows. I'm like, whoo, same with us, so we're good.
that number tracks. So,
Yeah. So, but I mean, across the board, we talked to other, brokers and other reps and brand owners.
yeah.
Even when we talked to the retail partners, the shops that were there, even they were like, yeah, this fuck place is dead. We usually go hang out at a couple of the bars and the casinos after, and everybody's hanging out there.
Well, we got there the first night or the night before, right?
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, because this year we got a kiosk, so there was no like booth set up for us.
It was so nice.
We showed up with a suitcase full of cigar samples and information and stuff, and we were done. But we showed up the night before, thinking that there would be people out and about that we could find and meet and see, and
Right.
we found nobody.
No, the bar that normally has like hundreds, like 250 people minimum there, they might have had 30.
Yeah, and they were all from another
Trade
convention.
show. Yeah. And then, I mean, we'll find people, and we eventually did. We hung out with the guys from Boveda for a while.
Yeah.
They make the humidification packs that we use in all of our humidors and things like that. In our opinion, is the number one humidification system on the market.
Yeah.
And there's actually science that proves that. It's not just us in our opinions. But so we got to hang out with those guys for a while, which was really nice. We have had an account with them for 8 years, and they've always treated us well.
Good people.
Now we got to hang out and continue building that relationship. We've been on their podcast before, the Boveda Box Press.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah, it was.
It was during the trade show.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a good one. Yeah, and then the next night was the industry party. And so the industry party was not sponsored by a cigar. Usually Drew Estates.
I thought it was.
No.
Really?
No cigar sponsorship on this.
I thought,
party.
because I thought Drew Estates was like, yeah, we're done with this now.
No.
Because,
They were done.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so usually like the last couple of years, we've gotten a really good meal. They're walking around with hors d'oeuvres, had a really kick-ass band.
There's cigars everywhere.
Cigars everywhere for smoke. This year, there was none of that.
It was at a nightclub in Caesars.
Yeah.
Omnia, I think is what it's called.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was weird because when they let us in, they pretty much like corralled everybody to go upstairs onto the outside patio on the roof. And I was like, well, shit, there's a bar here and we can smoke.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with this. And because they were saying that we couldn't smoke inside.
Yeah.
And then, so we just hung out on the patio
The whole night.
and talking to people, and we had a great time. The next day, talking to people, I realized that the inside was completely full also. The only food that they had for anybody was Kraft popcorn.
Yeah.
And it was so loud and so hot inside that you couldn't even have a conversation.
I guess there was a cool show though, which somebody said, but
I didn't even hear that.
yeah, I guess there was something going on. And it was like some kind of show or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard it was hot and it was loud as shit.
Yeah.
Couldn't even have a.
Well, it was loud as shit outside too because they had all the subwoofers and all that shit.
Yeah, we could barely hear outside.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was still fun. It was an open bar.
It was an open bar, and we
put some work in.
We put some work in. Yeah.
We definitely put some work in.
So we had a miscommunication. Usually we're on the same page about a lot of things.
Absolutely.
Right. So,
and I was on the same page with you. I didn't know that.
well, so like, I don't know, this is probably 9:00, right?
Yeah,
So
I think the party started at 9.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we hadn't drank anything at all yet.
Yeah. We went and got dinner.
Yeah. And
then that was it. And then we're like, oh, kill it.
And so open bar, they wouldn't pour doubles, which whatever. But so I'm like, well, I'm going to get a quick buzz and then kind of chill out.
But you didn't say it.
I didn't say it. I just went and got 3 drinks really quick and handed John the 3.
Yeah.
So
I thought that was the pace of the evening.
yes. And I was just trying to get there and then I was going to mellow out. And then once I quit going to the bar, John started going to the bar. He's just like, oh, it must be my turn.
Oh man, let's go.
And then all of a sudden, one of the guys we were hanging out with like tipped the waitress $100 or something.
And then it was just a revolving.
And she was bringing drinks faster than we were drinking them. And good for her. That's hard to do. That is hard.
It really is. I'm
hard.
Impressed.
If I have drinks,
She probably
stacked,
collectively through that entire group, we probably had 10 people in that group.
yeah,
She probably made $1,000 that night off of that group,
probably,
just on tips.
yeah.
Because I know Bob was just throwing her 100 every time she came by. One of the
I think
retail
it went from a 20 to a 50 to 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I know his son tipped her 100. I tipped her. I don't know how many times I tipped her. So you know what I mean? It's just she showed up with drinks and whoever was closest just gave her money and then
Just a tray full of tequila and Jameson. It was awesome. So yeah. So then after that, we went back to the hotel. Thought we'd run into people. Did not really. Oh, it was a little busier that night. But
not much busier, but a little bit.
But then, so we did our normal corporation thing where we each pitch in $20 and hit a slot machine.
Yep.
And we actually did pretty well.
We didn't lose.
We walked away with, I think, an extra $10 or something, but it's better than losing.
I think when we cashed out, we were up 50 a piece.
Oh, really?
And then we reinvested into a new corporation, a new slot machine.
I don't count until the end of all of that. So,
but we broke even on that one.
yeah.
No, I think we were all up $10 by the end of the night.
Yeah. At the end of the night, I had $10 more than I started.
Yep.
And, but we drank.
I was down $70 for tipping the waitress.
Yeah. we drank and played for probably, till 3:30 a.m.
So the industry party ended at midnight.
Yeah.
And so let's give it a 30-minute buffer for us to get back to the hotel.
Yeah.
And then we drank till 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So another 4 hours.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of a blur at the end of the night.
Oh, definitely.
I know when I woke up the next morning, I had a full Jameson sitting on my nightstand.
But that's not you.
That's not me, but I reached my limit. I had to have. I mean, we drank a lot that night.
Yeah, it was probably a bottle and a quarter piece.
Yeah, it was
a lot.
Yeah. And then the next morning, we had to be at the show. Luckily, the shows for the cigar trade shows, they started around 10. So that's nice.
The first day started at noon.
Yeah.
Like, what do we do?
Yeah. SHOT Show starts at like 8, 7, 8. It's something stupid.
I think it's 8:30.
Yeah.
The doors open.
And so this one's a little bit easier on your sleep schedule, but we had to work it. So we show up and
I was hungover as shit.
Yeah. Then about the time you got unhungover, I was drunk when we initially woke up.
Yeah. Like,
and then
I woke up that morning. My alarm went off that morning, and like I sat up and I was like, oh no. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, this is so bad. And I'm like, I think the only thing that's gonna help me right now is if I slam this bottle of water, pop 1,200 milligrams ibuprofen, and I need to go lay down in the shower. And then I remembered, I'm like, I'm in Vegas. I don't want to lay in the shower. So there's a bottle of hand sanitizer in the room, and I just covered the whole floor with it, and then get the shower.
Oh, that is not pleasant.
No, but it helped.
Yeah,
it helped.
I was still drunk till about 11.
Yeah,
and then my hungover set in a little bit. So
yeah, by the time your hangover kicked in, I was feeling good.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, I made it through.
Yeah. But And then that last night, there was hardly anything, and we were in bed by early.
I had one drink.
Yeah.
And that was just like,
That was
see if I could do it. Yeah. Yeah, I think that last night I was in bed by midnight. That was nice.
Yeah. But it was a fun show, like usual, but slow.
Yeah.
So now we got one in.
We still picked up, probably 5 or 6 new accounts.
We did. We met some good people too.
Yep.
Met a couple from here in Texas that own a couple liquor stores, and they were real cool.
Yep. Yeah, they were up by Abilene.
Yeah.
And it was funny because we met them at the party, and like we've talked about, not so much on this podcast, on our other podcasts we talk a lot, and a lot of our social media posts you'll see we do a lot of stuff, a lot of outdoor stuff, a lot of hunting, fishing, things like that, and we're always smoking cigars when we do it. And so we're talking to this couple from Abilene, and so I think Scott asked the question, so what do you like to do for fun? And the guy's like, oh, I like to hunt with thermals and shoot predators. And we're like, we're best friends now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was fun.
Yeah, he goes bobcat hunting.
Yeah.
Like in tournaments and shit.
And they got some crazy cash prizes for that too. I think he was saying that one was like $30,000 for the biggest cat.
Yeah. Mason, if you're listening, we need to recalibrate your dogs for a weekend.
Recalibrate. But yeah, so when we got back from the show last Friday, did a little recovery over the weekend.
Literally the weekend was all recovery. It was nice.
And then first thing Monday morning, fulfilled all the orders, got everything out. And then we got the only thing that we're out of stock on right now on the website is 50 cal Garrison Escuro Maduro.
And they are en route.
They are, they are on I-10 right now.
Yeah.
So those should be back in stock probably by the time this goes out, maybe. If not, or shortly after. Yeah. But
and that'll put our Toro samplers, our 10-pack samplers, it'll put everything back in stock finally. So that'll be good.
So speaking of trade shows, what is the best trade show you've ever been to? And we'll do two questions. One, best trade show you've been to cigar related. And then 2, best trade show you've just been to in general.
So I think, well, I'm jaded now, right? So I think I'm going to go back to, so the best cigar related trade show that I went to was the very first IPCPR.
Yeah.
And it was before we even owned a cigar brand, before we sold cigars. Literally, we had our tobacco license, and I'm like, I'm going to this because I wanted to check out the industry.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because, one, it was a new industry to me. I was in the gun industry. And
the kid in the candy store.
Right. And back when I went, there was a ton of booths that had booze in their, like there was a couple brands that also had a rum brand.
Right.
There's a couple brands that had a vodka brand. Those brands, I don't see them anymore.
Yeah.
They're gone. But I'd go to the show, and as a retailer at that point,
right, I
was getting samples, and I got a lot of samples. It was crazy amount.
This is 2015.
No,
right?
This was 2014, probably.
No, I think it was 15 because 16 was our first trade show as Warfighter, and it was a year prior.
Maybe. Yeah. But it was fun. I got to meet some people, and looking back on it, I was ignorant, and and it was fun. I think the same thing is the first SHOT Show I went to. Yeah. Except then I actually owned a shop. Well, I sold guns out of my house essentially when I was out in the country, but that was fun too. Opened my eyes to the industry a little bit, and those are probably my favorite 2 that I've been to. Yeah, but I haven't been to any other trade shows. Like I have yet to go to SEMA. I really want to.
Right.
And there's a couple other industry shows.
We went to that one in Chicago that one time.
Oh, that was a machining.
Yeah.
Yeah, machine.
And that was
trade
that
show.
was cool because of the sheer
The
size
scale of it. Yeah,
of
the equipment.
like
Yeah.
one booth.
Well,
Was massive because they had 4 pieces of equipment. These pieces of equipment were 30 feet by 30 feet wide. You know?
Like there was. I remember going to that show, looking at one mill that you literally needed like a telehandler to load something on this mill.
Yeah.
Like it was huge.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. You know, and the cost to set that up. Oh my God. I can't imagine a show like that. But then again, you're selling I mean, that piece of equipment is probably $5 million piece of
At
equipment.
least.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's a little different than selling a $10 cigar.
Right.
So, but yeah, that show was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But there's a couple other shows I'd like to go to.
Yeah.
So
I think SEMA would be really fun.
I want to go to SEMA. I really do.
I think it'd be chaotic, but
I would like to
Yeah.
go. I'm sure there's a trade show with like 4-wheelers and side-by-sides and stuff.
there has to be. There's a trade show for everything.
I know. I would like to find that show and
Yeah.
go to that show.
I used to go to we called it the bar show.
Oh, yeah.
And it was bar restaurant trade show. It was in Vegas. And when I was living in Arizona, I used to go to that. Just because you'd always learn cool stuff. The industry was just starting to kind of transition to what it is now.
Right.
Where it's, now if you go to a bar and they don't serve craft cocktails, you know what I mean? Like you're at a beer and wine bar essentially. It's interesting how the industry's changed into what their recipes, what their drinks and drink lists are now. But back then, like I remember we walked by a booth and they were selling purees and people were like, "What the fuck are you going to use that for?" You know what I mean? And then like that next year we started using purees in a bar that I worked at some of the drinks. And I was just like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah.
And so, the trade shows you usually get to see like new stuff before it actually happens.
Yeah. But unless you're in that industry, like I'll probably never be able to go to SEMA unless I know somebody.
Right.
I'll probably never be able to go to this ATV show, whatever they call it. I don't even know if there's one.
Yeah.
But because the problem with somebody like me going to a show like that is then I learn retailer pricing on everything.
Exactly.
It's part of the show. That's why they don't let people go to it. There's industry secrets there. There's how business is done, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't like to go.
No,
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
And then I know people are going to be like, well, they got to have a way to do this, but for the consumer.
And there is.
Yeah, there are, but
Yeah.
they're not. It's not like they do one big show a year.
Well, like for the cigar industry, it's probably like Big Smoke.
But there's probably
Right.
50 of them throughout the year, all across the United States.
And for SHOT Show, it's the NRA show,
Yeah,
right?
and it's the same thing though. But they do the NRA show in multiple locations throughout the year.
No, they do it once a year, but it's in a different location each year.
Yeah.
But it's it looks just like SHOT Show,
Yeah.
except you're not talking.
You're not
You're-
buying. You're
Nobody's
learning.
buying anything. You're just seeing the new stuff.
Yep.
So it's just expensive for no reason. Probably.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
I think my favorite cigar show that I went to was the first show that we did as Warfighter.
That one was fun.
We won Best in Show for New Exhibitor.
Yeah.
They had the 38 special concert that we had VIP table at.
Yeah.
We had our own private party.
Which we unofficially won Best After Party.
Yep.
Yeah.
We kind of went hard in the paint that first year.
We did.
Just because we didn't know any better. We didn't understand the industry. So we just did it, been like, based on what we know and everything else, like this, if I was a retailer, this would be really fun. And it was.
It was really fun. It was not profitable at all.
No, not at all.
All we did was take a little bit of capital that we may have had to like get the company really going and
waste
ordered
it.
pizzas and stuff like that. So yeah, it was
copies.
Yeah. So it was not a profitable show, but it was fun.
We learned a lot.
We learned a lot.
We learned what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
Trade shows are fucking expensive.
Yeah. They can be. And they can get away from you, especially if you don't know any better, right? Like our first couple of years, I had a shitty business partner at the time that owned a trade show booth company, right?
Yeah.
So he talked us into this really elaborate booth that was really expensive. Then we had to store it for a year. And then it was really expensive to take down,
Right.
really expensive to set up.
Yeah.
Like, and then we got to figure out like none of this is necessary.
Like it looked really good.
It was good. Yeah, it was great.
But we literally put in.
What was the ROI on it?
We put in, after we switched away from that booth, we now use a booth that cost 1/10 the price. And it doesn't, there's not much of a difference.
I mean,
Like
the overall like visual to it. Yeah.
But nobody's walked up to us and been like,
oh, you guys going out of business because your booth got smaller?
It's like, no, we got tired of wasting money.
Yeah. You know what happens now is my sales are way better and my cost is way down and I can walk away from the show and not have lost money.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
I feel good about it.
Yeah.
Even if it is slow.
Yeah.
Like TPE.
Yeah.
You know, like it was slow. I still feel good about the show.
You know what? Like TPE, it was probably the cheapest show we've ever done.
Yeah.
Because of the kiosk that was already set up for us and everything, right? If we had spent what we spent on our trade show the first year,
Oh God.
we would have lost our ass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Horribly. Just like we did the first year.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yep.
so we're learning. But and we're trying to, we try to help other brands if they ask these questions,
Yes.
But it's ultimately it's their decisions to do what and however they want to do it. So it is what it is. But yeah.
It's one of those necessary evils.
Yeah, you can't not be there.
I mean, you could, but it's that one chance a year to get that many people from your industry in one place to be able to network and talk with them. I think that holds more weight than whatever orders that are being taken at the show.
Like the cost to go visit everybody that you see at a show would be more expensive than setting up at the show. And
this industry, it's relationship based. Almost like across the board, whether it's in our supply chain with our factory and shipping and everything that goes into all that.
Yeah.
All the vendors that we use for all the bands and boxes, blah blah blah, all the way down to the relationship that we have with our retail partners and our customers. But that really doesn't. The trade show doesn't really affect that.
Yeah.
But we've had accounts that started off small and they were just kind of doing their thing, and then based off of the relationships we built at these shows, all of a sudden these accounts start kicking out good numbers, and it's just like, okay, it's like they believe in the brand now they know some history, they have a personal relationship with Warfighter, and that allows them to be able to stand behind the product better.
So thinking about this show, right, like you said, the show like this has nothing to really do with our relationship to our ultimate customer, right?
Yeah.
Which it doesn't, right? So we have a relationship with our customers. I think it's a fairly good one, right? If people follow us on social media, they know who we are. I think we reach them pretty well. We have a separate and different kind of relationship with our retail partners.
Yeah.
How do we build the relationship between our consumers and our retail partners? Because that's
to link them together.
That's the gap.
Right.
That's the magic, right? Mm-hmm. We're trying to figure out how to have our retail partner have a good relationship with our customer.
Yep.
So, I'm going to challenge our customers on this one, right?
Yeah.
Like, yes, you can order off our website, right? But if you have a local shop that carries our cigars, go support them.
Yeah.
If you have a local shop that doesn't carry our cigars, go ask them to carry our cigars. And then if they do, support them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that is our ultimate goal, is to try to establish the relationships between our retail partners and our customers. And that's something that a trade show can't give us.
Right.
It's something, that's the hardest puzzle piece in this industry, right? Like you have a couple brands that do a great job of it.
Right.
Like look at like Drew Estates, right? You go to an event, they give you a free car. If you buy 2.5 cigars, they give you a free car.
Yeah.
It's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
That's an easy way to build, to build a consumer retailer relationship, is when the brand comes in, has an event, and you give them all of this free stuff.
Yeah.
We can't afford to do that.
No.
And it doesn't make much sense to me, right? Like you either like our cigars, like I wish I could give everybody a really cool backpack and a toaster and some tires.
All that stuff costs money.
It does. I unfortunately we can't do that, but we're working on some stuff, but
yeah,
we got to keep it realistic. We're a cigar brand. And that's what we got to focus on. So,
yeah.
But, to try to build that relationship, that's the
ultimate goal.
Yeah. That's the puzzle piece that we have to kind of find.
Yeah. We try by, doing events.
Yeah.
And that gets us as the liaison between the consumers and the retail partners.
Yeah.
But there's roughly about 4,500 cigar shops across the United States. It's really hard to hit every single one.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So, So bear with us. We'll try to figure it out. Help us.
Yeah. If you got ideas, we're open to it.
Yeah. But ask for our cigars. That's the biggest thing. That's the hardest puzzle piece, right? I can sell them to you directly on our website.
Yeah.
But that's not where our growth is. We need our customers to tell their friends about it. We need our customers to ask the local shop to carry it. Mm-hmm. And, that's how it has to be done, I think.
Yeah.
So,
yep. My best trade show outside of the cigar industry it's a toss-up. And it's a toss-up, I think, between the first SHOT Show I went to and the third one. Right? The first one is because I got thrown to the wolves. I didn't know what I was walking into.
Your first SHOT Show was your first day in the firearms industry.
It was. The only thing I knew prior to that, and actually I'll caveat that with the only thing I knew after that trade show also is still what I was taught in the military about firearms, which was jack shit. They didn't teach me anything. You pull this little switch and a shiny thing goes downrange really fast. That's about all they taught me. So going and seeing that industry and not knowing anything about it, it was just overwhelming. And meeting the people that, I saw on social media, and then seeing them in person and being like, oh, wow. Okay. So it was very eye opening for me. But then the most fun one that we went to was probably, I think, the third year. We went to the Cry Precision party. Our buddy Carter was with us. We stopped at the Hoover Dam. It was
right after we did the video with Black Rifle.
Yep.
That they can no longer share because it was that good of a video.
Yeah, we did. We did a joint venture with them, a bag of coffee. It was called Fuck Hipster Coffee.
Yeah. That was my old gun store that did that, not Warfighter Tobacco.
No, yeah.
And that was, and so one of our buddies, Carter, had a role in this little video.
He was the Canon guy.
So he was everybody recognized him, and it was really fun.
Yeah.
So.
And that was also the trailer release party for Range 15.
Oh, yeah. That was a fun one.
We had a great time that show.
Yeah.
I don't really remember much of the actual on the show floor show.
I was working at that
because I was very hungover and I was doing all the buying for the gun store at the time. You were working a booth at that time. That was rough. But the extracurricular activities are really fun.
Yeah.
So I think that those my toss up for outside the cigar industry are those two. But yeah, SHOT Show's fun.
Yeah, that one was great.
To go a little bit more, I don't know, cigar related stuff right now. We had a question that came in, and it was, should you burp or cycle air in your humidors? I'm not talking about like a stand up. I'm talking maybe one of the Pelican Ruck cases or our 12 or 1300s.
I mean, is it like a baby where you put it over your shoulder? And
you pat on the back.
See what happens.
I think what he's asking is, if you have your humidor sealed for a while and the air that's in there is just in there.
Yeah.
Do you want to trade that out or cycle that air in and out or what? So what do you think?
So I'm gonna throw. So say you have all of the same kind of cigar in there, right? And then it absolutely doesn't matter. And what I mean by same kind, I mean if you have traditional, not artificially flavored cigars
right
in your humidor, there's no reason to open it up. Unless if you put say you throw an acid in there with all your other cigars, eventually all your other cigars are going to have a hint of that flavor.
Right.
So I always want to keep those separate. Another way or reason that you might want to do it is if you get some cigars that are really young and you can, you get that ammonia smell, then you want to cycle new air in. Outside of that, though, if it's just a regular traditional cigar, there should be no reason you have to burp your cigar or your humidor. It should be just fine. As long as you keep the temperature correct and you keep the humidity correct, they should be fine.
Right. So I have, I don't know, it just makes sense in my head, but my thoughts on this, like logically. I agree with the traditional cigars versus infused or flavored cigars. You want to keep those separate just so nothing.
I mean, like on a little humidor, you can throw them in together for a day or, for an evening.
Yeah.
That's not going to bother anything.
Yeah. But for permanent, semi-permanent, permanent storage solutions, you kind of want to keep those separate. But when it comes to like, a sealed humidor, whether it's, Tupperware or Tupperdor, whatever you want to call that, even if it's a desktop one that you don't open, much, my advice for that would be always use a hydrometer. Always use something that monitors your humidity levels, because that kind of tells you what's going on inside that humidor without opening, and you can't really tell just by looking.
Right.
So using a hydrometer will let you know if the humidity levels inside your humidor are in the right range, where you want to stay. No higher than 70, personally, no lower than 60, and keep it in there. As long as it stays within those range, I'm happy with it. I'm okay.
Yeah.
It's the same as like putting a cigar in a Ziploc bag with a Boveda pack.
Right.
That it'll stay, like Boveda puts out a bag and it says you put cigars in there, it stays fresh for a year.
Yeah.
And that's just probably until the Boveda pack runs out of humidification.
Right. Which if it's sealed, it shouldn't.
Right. Because once it maintains that level.
Yeah.
But if you're opening and closing it or whatever, that affects it.
Did he ask like how long in between this should be?
No.
Because like I would never ever in my life ever have to burp my humidor because I open the son of a bitch
daily
5 times a day. Right.
Right.
Like if anything, I'm doing it too much.
So there's not enough humidity.
Yeah.
In there. But no, I mean, I'd go back to just monitor with a hydrometer, monitor your levels, make sure you're sitting where you need to be sitting. And if you feel like, I haven't opened this thing in 6 months, go open it. It's not going to hurt it.
And every time you open it, smoke a cigar.
Yeah.
Like what the hell? Why do you have a humidor that you never open or you're concerned about like, I don't open this often enough?
Now, I have
you know what? You don't open it often enough, but you don't need to just open it. Pull a cigar out of it.
I have a humidor in my house that I might open maybe 3 or 4 times a year.
Pull a cigar out of it, John.
Every time I open it, I do.
Yeah.
But it's upstairs and I have to walk upstairs to get it. And I have a humidor right in my kitchen that I don't have to go upstairs to get to. Actually, the only time that I really go check that is when I have to add distilled water to my humidification system. And then while I'm doing that, I'm like, I get some really good cigars. And I grab one and go smoke it. I call it my aging humidor.
Yeah.
My lazy humidor, because I'm too fucking lazy to walk upstairs to get a cigar. But yeah, I mean, you can burp it if you want, burp it if you don't.
Yeah,
I mean, as long as your humidity levels are good, you're good. I don't think the air is going to go stale or
I don't think there's an issue there.
Yeah.
Anything else we have?
I got one more thing, but I'm just trying to think like, I don't know if I've ever, maybe it's because I open my humidor so often that I've never really thought about that.
Yeah.
Like I found some like rut cases that are like, I used and tucked away and forgot and then like pulled it out. And I'm like, and then I open it up and I'm like, there's still cigars in it.
Yeah.
Like I have a science experiment going on in my backyard right now.
And then there's also usually a Boveda pack in it.
So exactly. So I have a science experiment going on in my backyard. I have a tan R20 with a Boveda pack and 1 cigar in it that's been sitting on my back patio on my table in my backyard for about 2.5 years now. through all the weather, through all the summer and 110 degrees, through the winter when it's negative and freezing.
Yeah.
And it's just sitting out there. And for two reasons. One, to make sure it's waterproof over the whole time being in the elements, nonstop. To see how much it fades because it's in the sun all day, every day.
Right.
And to see what the cigar is going to be, in the Boveda pack, to see how long it's going to last. So about, I don't know, every 6 or 8 months or so, I'll actually I see it every day.
Yeah.
But I'll actually be like, I wonder how that's doing. And then I'll go open it up, right? The Boveda pack's still good. And I don't have like a meter or anything. I check the cigar, but I'll give it a little squeeze, you know what I mean? To see how tender that cigar is.
Yeah.
And it feels just fine.
Nice.
So one of these days I'm going to bring the cigar humidification tool thing and check the humidity on it.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how long I want to wait before I smoke it. I might wait until towards the summer, the beginning of the summer. And
but you wait till it's 70 degrees for a week. And that way.
Right. And then it's back
activated
to
to the temperature.
Yeah. But I'll have to bring it in and set it next to a new one to see.
Can you imagine that? It's like the end of the world, right? And we're like, you randomly find this Pelican case and it's full of fucking cigars and they're all great yet.
And
20 years.
Yes.
20 years after World War III.
The Boveda pack's still a little left in
it.
What's that movie? Where the guy's walking through the desert and he's got the last copy of the Bible, but it's in Braille. Oh, what the hell's the name of that movie? I feel like it'd be like that, and everybody's fighting for that Bible, but it's us with one cigar case.
Yeah. I mean, given the right set of circumstances, I would kill somebody for that.
Yeah, the world ended.
Yeah.
Game on.
Yeah.
You got
Book of Eli.
The Book of Eli. Yep.
There you go.
That's it. Except it's the Pelican case of cigars.
How great would that be?
That'd be a good movie. It'd be fun. Yeah. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about today on the show is so we got a message from one of our customers, Sergeant Brown Lee, and he's with the 718th Engineer Company, and they're currently deployed downrange. The 718th Engineer Company is that same company that the 3 soldiers who got killed by a drone strike a couple weeks ago. And so if you're watching instead of just listening, Justin just pulled it up on the screen. So they teamed up, the unit teamed up with 9 Line Apparel, and they did a limited run of shirts. 100% of the proceeds go to the families of the 3 fallen soldiers. They come red, black, men's, women's, youth sizes, all that kind of fun stuff. So whatever size, whatever person you want to get it for, they have them available. On the shirts, they have the engineer, logo, crest, whatever you want to call it, the castle on the back. And on the front, it has a unit crest. And then on the back of the shirt, in between the towers of the castle, it actually has the date when the attack was, and then when the 3 soldiers got killed. So coming from a customer, especially one that's in this unit that thoroughly enjoys and loves Warfighter cigars, I felt it was very appropriate for us to talk about this for a little bit and put it out there for all of our listeners as well. So if you go to 9lineapparel.com, and they have initiatives is I think the tab, and you can find it. Or if you just search for the Essayons, ESSAYONS shirt, it should pull up on there. But it's under the initiatives tab on 9Line's website.
And it says that it will not ship out until February 23rd because it closes. They don't take any more orders after February 19th.
Yeah.
So,
it's the 718th Engineers.
Yeah.
We got about, when we're recording right now, you got 11 days left to get it. And I think when this goes live, this is going live
probably
Friday, right?
9 days.
Yeah. So you got about 8 or 9 days once this goes live to be able to get some of these, pre-sale shirts. And like I said, all the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds go to the families of the fallen. And, but yeah, I know it's not really cigar related, but It kind of is.
Well, it's Warfighter related.
It's Warfighter related.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
We'll also drop a
Research.
link down in the description of wherever you're listening. So if you want to go support these guys, just scroll down to the description wherever you're listening to this.
yeah, because I think the 3 that were killed, I think if I remember right, like 2 of them were 19 or 20. They were in a National Guard unit, and then the other one was like their E5 or E6, and I think he was a little bit older.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's unfortunate. You know, the drone strike from Iran.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, go support that.
Yep. I don't have anything else. You got anything else?
I don't.
Okay.
This is episode 2 that we didn't drink in.
That's true.
And
I'm
it's
still
just,
working on my coffee.
it's just me and you. Yeah, it's a little early today, and yeah, we've had a busy couple weeks of that. So
Yeah.
taking today
Give
off.
my liver a break.
So
But yeah, I'm smoking a 5.56 Garrison Corojo.
oh, me
Or-
too. I'm smoking one in a 660.
And then I'm drinking a delicious coffee that I made at home.
I'm drinking some shit in a can.
Does it pair well with your cigar?
With strawberry watermelon and Corojo. I don't know. That's why I haven't drank too much of it.
Yep. Yeah, one of these days we'll go over pairings
Yeah.
and what our favorite stuff is.
Well, it'll have to be on a day when we're ready to go down the line.
Oh, gee.
One cigar,
I
all
don't know if
the
there's-
different pairings.
I don't know if there's a day that I'm ready to go down that line.
There's a couple in there. Maybe not. But there's quite a few good ones.
Can I skip some? Like, I don't want to drink the premium olive juice.
Is that what it is?
That's it. It's dirty martini mix. There's olive juice in a bottle.
Yeah, it's good thing I didn't try that.
Like, I want to know how 3/4 of that bottle's gone.
That's not me.
Who's been drinking this and acting messed up?
The double black I could skip. The blackened is good.
Yeah, Johnny Walker Double Black.
That Ranger Creek 36, that's
Yeah.
pretty good. Jameson Castmates, can't go wrong.
No,
The Powers Irish is
that's
pretty
really
good.
actually.
Devil's River Agave Bourbon. It's sweet, but it is delicious. I
Yeah.
think I am a big fan.
Yeah,
But
you
it has
are.
not lasted. It's not lasted very long. And then the Elijah Craig small batch.
That's really good too. I like that.
I don't know if I've tried that one yet. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Cool.
yeah.
Well, that's about it for this episode of Warfighter Tobacco Podcast. We'll do a little cheers, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.